Vultures, or what are often called vultures, or some people also call vultures, are animals that have an important role in nature and the environment. Even in several zoos in the United States, birds are trying to breed these birds. Another interesting thing about vultures is that they don't get sick even though they eat carrion, unlike animals in general. So what are some interesting facts about vultures? Unlike animals in general, they do not eat the carcasses of animals that have been dead for a long time. Vultures often eat the carcasses of animals that have been dead for a long time. In general, the meat of animals that have been dead for a long time contains fusobacteria and clostridia bacteria, both of which will decompose the carcass. When these two bacteria are breaking down the carcass will release very dangerous toxic chemicals. When meat containing this bacteria is exposed to another animal, the animal's digestion will be destroyed and poison the animal. However, vultures actually have strong digestion and can adapt to these two bacteria. Vultures have developed strong intestines that help them not get sick from feasting on rotting meat, according to a newly published study. Vultures often wait for decomposition to occur in the carcass, which makes the bird easy to consume even though it has tough skin. The bacteria in the carcass are actually used by the vultures to digest the carcasses they eat in the intestines. The scientists also examined fecal samples from vultures and other birds at Copenhagen Zoo. Even though zoo animals have similar diets, fecal bacteria from captive vultures more closely resemble the microbiome of vultures in the wild than their avian relatives in zoos, researchers found. The similarity of bacteria in vultures suggests that their digestive systems are more influenced by gut bacteria than food. Even though they do not have a beautiful appearance and often eat carrion, vultures have an important role in nature. Vultures can eat up to 55 kilograms of carrion annually, which helps humans clean up carcass areas that provide a foul smell and disgusting sight for a long time. And although they are not the only scavengers in nature, the decline in vulture populations is very dangerous. This terrible case happened in India in the 1990s and early 2000s. Rats and dogs became scavengers after the vulture population declined. So that at the same time the very deadly disease rabies emerged. About 50,000 people died from the rabies outbreak, and the public health cost reached $34 billion. This decline in the vulture population causes other animals to eat carrion, which are not resistant to the diseases caused by eating carrion. Carcasses that contain lots of bacteria, viruses and toxins can actually be destroyed by the vulture's digestive system. So it could be said, without vultures, the balance of nature and humans would be disturbed. Vultures are also very effective in eliminating pathogens and toxins in the environment because their stomachs contain a very strong acid that destroys harmful substances in dead animals. However, in the last 40 years the vulture population has actually decreased. In the 1990s, widespread use of the livestock drug diclofenac reduced the population of vultures in India. Because many birds eat cow carcasses that have just been treated with diclofenac. Some studies estimate a decline of more than 90% in India's vulture population as a result of the use of this bovine drug. India has banned the use of the drug diclofenac, although in several countries it is still allowed. Currently, vulture populations in Africa are declining, partly due to accidental toxin exposure, but also due to deliberate poisoning. Shepherds poison carcasses to ward off animals such as lions, but many vultures become victims. In more sinister circumstances, poachers use poison on carcasses to deliberately target vultures so that the vultures do not flock around the carcasses of illegally hunted animals. Other threats include the trade in vulture meat, use in medicine, and accidents involving power cables and wind turbines in Africa. Currently, National Geographic explorer Darcy Agada is involved in several conservation efforts related to vulture species in Africa. He has written academic papers on the African vulture crisis that suggest government policy options to promote vulture conservation efforts. Likewise, National Geographic explorer Dr. Corinne Kendall is studying the behavioral patterns of healthy vulture populations in Tanzania to help better understand and protect vultures across the region. Even though vultures are known as scavengers, it turns out that vultures don't only eat carrion. Vultures also eat other birds, reptiles, amphibians, and invertebrates. In some areas, vultures also eat dead crocodiles, turtles, snakes, frogs, fish, shrimp, grasshoppers, or snails. It doesn't stop there. Vultures also eat insects and plants around them. It is not uncommon for vultures in the wild to also eat rotten fruits such as pumpkins, coconuts, or berries. Even though they can eat other than carrion, vultures actually prefer carrion in the wild. The food such as plants, crops, insects, or other small animals that vultures eat is due to the difficulty of vultures finding carrion. Considering that vultures need food to survive, eating other than carrion is one way for vultures to adapt. It is interesting to see the habit.